Yesterday we have seen Schedule T, some of the aspects of Schedule T, which gives the guidelines of what should be the premises, what should be the requirement for documentation, what should be the requirement for mechanical equipment, what should be the requirement of labeling, and so on. Today we are going to see what is the Schedule Y. Now, when you are talking about Schedule Y, it is requirements and guidelines for permission to import and or manufacture of new drugs for sale or to undertake the clinical trials. Now, the Schedule Y is in generally used for pharmaceutical products also and for traditional medicines also. So purpose of Schedule Y is to frame guidelines so that the clinical research, control and regulation for new drugs can be carried out. Now this Schedule Y has been formulated under good clinical practices in 2005, CDSCO and DTAB. When you're talking about India, the person who is willing to go for the clinical trials are very much because very much because the person will get the compensation or they will get some of the remuneration when they are going for the clinical trials. In fact, in India, the clinical trial cost as compared to other country is very low. So large patient pool is there because our population is very high and we have well trained and experienced investigators who will do the clinical on the patients for various new drugs. And thus in India, uh, there are many CROs which are working under the clinical trials. When you are talking about Drug and Cosmetic Act to 1945, there were different rules which they have permission for different aspects. For example, Rule 122A, which gives the permission to import the new drugs. 122B, it gives the permission to manufacture new drugs. 122D, it gives the permission to import or manufacture fixed dose combinations. So when there is a fixed dose combination, you have to follow 122 rule, 122D rule. Then it is 122DA. It gives a permission for conduction of clinical trials of new drug or investigate a new drug. 122DAA, it gives the definition of guidelines. So, when you're talking about Schedule Y, it is basically based on the clinical trials. So, what are the requirements and guidelines on clinical trials for importing and manufacture of new drug? First and foremost is you have to apply for the permission to import and manufacture a new drug. Then you have to carry out the clinical trials on a specific population. After you have been successfully done or carried clinical trials, if at clinical 3 you are getting a good result, you will be marketing your product. After marketing also there is a clinical trial phase 4 wherein post marketing surveillance will be taking place. So if after marketing some patients are complaining about some illness or some side effects or some side effects or some adverse effects, that can be undertaken as a study in post marketing surveillance. And then you have to, of course, before you market, you have to carry out your BA/BE studies, that is bioequivalent and bio availability studies. Now it shall made form 44 accompanied with the following data so that you can have the application for permission. So you have to give the application detail like clinical and pharmaceutical information, whatever animal pharmacology data you have got from animal study, what is animal toxicological data, human clinical pharmacology data, what are the regulatory status in other countries pertaining to that particular drug, and what should be the prescribing information. With that, you have to give form number 12, which will have what are the different aspects in which you want to import your drug for examination or for testing or for analysis. Second is clinical trials. So of course you have to have the approval for clinical trials. So if you are having a good animal study report, then only you have to go for the clinical trials. Yeah, there are, as we have seen in clinical guidelines of ASU drug, there are sponsor or investigator, and of course they should have a consent form. Responsibility of ethical committee is to give the approval trial protocol, so that all the protocol are being safeguarded by ethical committee, and then only they can be tried on the vulnerable subjects. Human pharmacology phase 1, 2, 3 are very important, so that in phase 1 you can have safety and tolerability. In phase 2 you should have, you have to evaluate the effectiveness of a drug to determine the short term side effects and risk associated with the drug. And in phase 3 you will be having a demonstration of therapeutic benefit of that particular drug, and you will be finding out that drug is safe and effective or not on a particular dosage. After that, you will be going for phase 4, that will be post marketing surveillance. This will be performed after drug approval and related to the approved indications, which will include if some patient is taking some drug and the new drug which is being marketed, what are the drug interaction, what is the dosage response, what is the if there is mortality or mobility effect after the patient are taking this drug. So this will be taken under post marketing surveillance. When you're talking about studies in special population, for example, we have seen that if you want to study a particular drug effect on pregnant women or children, then there is a special permission you need, after which the permission is granted depending upon the safety and efficacy pertaining to that particular population, and then only ethical committee will give the permission to have the clinical trials on the particular population. When you're talking about special studies like bioequivalent and bioavailability studies, I think you have already done with pharmacokinetics, so you are aware of bioavailability and bioequivalent studies. Here you are going to evaluate the effect of food on absorption following oral administration of that particular drug. In Schedule Y, there are different appendix which have a particular data with that. For example, Appendix 1, it has data to be submitted along with the application. Appendix 2, it has a structure, content and format for clinical study reports. Appendix 3, what is the procedure and guidelines for animal toxicology, then animal pharmacology. In Appendix 4. Appendix 5, you have to have an informed consent. Appendix 6, what should be the fixed dose combinations and its guidelines. Appendix 7, undertaken by investigation. Then Appendix 8, ethical committees and its guidelines and its responsibilities. Appendix 9, stability testing of new drug. Appendix 10 contains a proposed protocol for conducting clinical trials. And Appendix 11, where you have data elements for reporting serious adverse events that can be occurred during the clinical trials. So these are the different appendices which are being given in Schedule Y. For Schedule Y, pharmaceutical product and the traditional medicine should follow the same guidelines and regulations of Schedule Y. Depending upon the what type of drug you want to manufacture, you have to undergo all these different types of parameters, and you can carry out the clinical study only when the ethical committee gives you the permission. So this all was regarding Schedule Y. Now, yesterday we have already seen a particular guidelines of Schedule T. So in presentation, I'll not take in detail what is Schedule T. What I'm going to do is I'll just forward this presentation in our Teams. So if you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, well, I will show you the presentation. So this is the presentation for Schedule Schedule T, which is based on good manufacturing practices. Have you already studied GMP in last year?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ,
Yes,
तो
ma'am.
मेरे ख्याल से you will be having the good manufacturing practices presentation also. If not, I'll give you. So this is regarding the GMP, good manufacturing practices, which is very important when you are talking about traditional medicines. So Schedule T, I'll just post in our Teams. Now, this was regarding the regulatory aspects of ASU drugs. There are not too much of data available as per the internet also. So whatever data I could find out, I have already given to you. One more presentation I have, actually it is not related to regulatory aspect, but it is related to what are different schedules of drugs. Okay, the drugs means pharmaceutical as well as Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani drugs. So I'll just show you the presentation. This presentation you can refer for a brief introduction of what all different schedules are there, and in which schedule what are the different regulatory guidelines. For example, when you are talking about schedules, the Cosmetic Drug and Cosmetic Act was there in 1940, which was in 1945 came as a rule. And when you are talking about schedules to the act, there were two schedules. First schedule, which were having, it is actually for Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani. First schedule was having name of the books which are authorized books for Ayurveda and Siddha, Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani systems. And the second schedule was a standard to be complied with by imported drugs and by drugs which are being manufactured for sale, sold and exhibited for sale or distribution. So before it was a act, not a rule. There were only two schedules. These are some of the name of the books which are being authorized by Schedule 1. So this is the books for Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani. And there were one amendment called as Drug and Cosmetic Act 2008, in which they have guidelines related to substantial enhancement in punishment, life imprisonment for offenders who are involved in manufacture, sale and distribution of spurious and adulterated drugs. Then they have guidelines for minimum punishment, which says that if there is a offender, they can be punished for 7 years, which can be extended to life imprisonment depending upon the whatever mistake or whatever uh, you can say whatever they have carried out which is against the law. And again the amendment says what should be the compensation to the affected person by the offenders. So this was a silent feature of 2008. So this act came under amendment in 2008. Before that there were no you can say guide particularly for the offenders. So this act came into reality in 2008. When you are talking about the therapeutical goods in United States, Food and Drug Administration have a particular controlled substance which are being identified under one of the five controlled substance schedules, schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now depending upon the different drugs, the scheduled drugs are being given the place. For example, schedule 1, gives the insight of high potential for abuse like heroin, methylene, dioxymethamphetamine, and isomers, and so on. Schedule 2 have the examples which are the drugs that are currently accepted as a medical use in United States. Example, morphine, cocaine, amobarbital. But of course, that has to
Ma'am,
be given under, yes,
ma'am, are you showing the PPT? I cannot see it.
I am showing the PPT. You are not able to
I'm
see.
I can see the folder where the PPTs are.
What about others?
हाँ मैम फोल्डर
Same
भी दिख
here,
रहा है।
ma'am.
तो तुम लोग बोल क्यों नहीं रहे थे अभी तक?
मैम मुझे लगा आप ऐसे एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हो।
Okay, okay, wait a minute. I'll just start it again. Okay, are you able to see now?
Yes ma'am.
Okay, so Schedule 2 drugs are drugs which are currently accepted for medical use in United States. But of course, you have to have the prescription for purchasing this particular drugs. Schedule 3 is also accepted medical use drugs. For example, it contains the steroids, certain Schedule 2 substances in suppositories, mixtures or limited amounts per dosage unit. Schedule 4 have the example that are the drug which may lead to limited physical or physiological dependence relative to substances in Schedule 3. So it has an example of maprobemet and alprazolam. So this was regarding Schedule 1 to 4. Now when you are talking about Indian schedules, there are different schedules. So from starting from A, B, C, D, E, F, FFG, and so on till Y, right? So this presentation is only about what are different schedules, and in which schedule what are particular, you can say, silent features. So this can be used by you briefing regarding the different schedules that are being available in Indian system. So you can just go through this presentation. Actually, it is not related to your regulatory aspect, okay? But of course, it is related to your course. So I thought I'll just share this particular presentation with you, okay? So anybody is having any doubt regarding regulatory aspects?
तो मैम एक बार वो पीपीटी देख लेंगे तो डाउट रहेगा तो पूछते।
Okay, so I'll just post this all presentations in Teams group. If you are having any doubt, you can just ask me. So who are going to explain that regulatory document? Start with that. That document is a detail of what I have taken in first lecture. Okay.
यस मैम।
Yes, who is going to speak? Start करो.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to start with introduction.
Okay, start करो फिर.
स्क्रीन दिख रहा है क्या? Okay, wait a minute. Um, Good morning to everyone. Today we are going to have a look on a research paper named Herbal Medicines Regulation and Practice in Europe, United States, and India by Nitin Verma. We are going to have a look on abstract first. This is the review article. So, the present review deals with practice and regulation of herbal medicines in Europe and India. Herbal medicines are widely used for treatment of human ailments in various systems of medicine like Ayurvedic, homeopathic, Siddha, Unani, and other regional systems of medicine. Herbal drug products classification vary from country to country. Some categories includes functional products. Products is that this are complex mixture of constituents and the other constituents responsible for the literature survey for regulation of herbal drug products in Europe, US, and India was performed to identify the recently introduced changes in regulation or newly introduced regulation compliance with the regulatory bodies. Committees mentioned over here is a Committee of Herbal Drug Medicinal Products, HMPC, Committee of European Medicines Agency, EMA, uh, and Traditional Herbal Medicines Registration Scheme, THMRS, Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, MHRA from UK, US FDA. This all committees, guidelines, and schemes were seen. And further, I'm going to start with introduction. Anemia herbal medicines are plant-derived material or products with therapeutic or other human health benefits, which contain ingredients from one or more plants. So, as per WHO definition, there are three kinds of herbal medicines: raw materials, processed plant materials, and medicinal herbal products. The earliest recorded evidence for herbal medicine use in Indian, Chinese, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and Syrian text dates back to about 500 years, 5,000 years. The classical Indian texts on herbal medicine include Rigveda, Atharvaveda, Charak Samhita, and Sushrut Samhita. Herbal medicines are used by practitioners of traditional system of medicines across the globe due to their well-established and widely acknowledged use. The well-accepted and accumulated experience of many practitioners and patients over an extended period of time make herbal medicine more popular. Traditional medicine is the sum total of knowledge, skills, and practices based on the theories, beliefs, and experiences indigenous to different cultures, whether explicable or not. Used in the physical and mental illness, some traditional medicine system, sorry, some traditional medicine systems are indigenous medicine existent in the region, either recognized or ethnic, as in Chinese medicine, Indian Ayurveda, Arabic Unani medicine, African and Latin American practices. In some Asian and African countries, 80% of population depends on traditional medicine for their primary health care. Herbal medicines are also gaining popularity among developed countries like US, Europe, etc. Through several CM approaches. New drug molecules from the plants have been isolated for the treatment of various infectious and chronic conditions, such as the example given over here is anti-malarial drugs were developed from the discovery and isolation of artemisinin from Artemisia annua. The further explanation of introduction is going to carried on by Kirti. Kirti.
Yes. So herbal medicines, they generate a very large revenue across the world, and this has given rise to counterfeit, poor quality, or adulterated herbal products to enter in the international markets, which has led to serious patient safety issues. Effectiveness tests to the herbal medicines are limited due to their complex nature, authentication issues, and lack of appropriate standardization. The safety, effectiveness, and quality of finished herbal medicine products depend on the quality of their source material, which can include hundreds of natural constituents and how elements are processed while manufacturing them. According to one study, it was found that one-fifth of both US manufactured and Indian manufactured Ayurvedic medicines purchased by the internet were found to contain detectable amounts of lead, mercury, and arsenic. But there is a popular belief that herbal medicine is and they carry no risk or harm because they are herbal or natural or traditional. But scientifically, it has been proven that herbal medicines and their practices can cause harmful adverse reactions if the product or therapy is of poor quality, or it is taken inappropriately, or it is in conjunction with other medicines. Increase patient awareness about the safe usage, training, collaboration, and communication among the providers of health, herbal and traditional or other medicines is considered necessary for patient health and safety. Countries have their own set of laws and regulations for herbal medicine and traditional medicines. WHO recommends that each country or area should adopt a regulatory system to manage the appropriate use of herbal medicines. Adopting a regulatory mechanism has always helped in ensuring that herbal medicines have acceptable quality, safety, and efficacy. The WHO guidelines for the assessment of these herbal medicines may be consulted when assessment processes for herbal medicines are being prepared. The WHO guidelines on good agricultural and collection practices for the medicinal plants are intended for national regulatory bodies, and they offer advice on the cultivation and collection methods, then site selection, climate or soil consideration, and the correct identification of the plants and their seeds. These guidelines also offer guidance on post harvest operations such as labeling, then legal components, which include national and regional laws on quality standards, patent safety, patent status, and benefits sharing. It is not a binding guideline for any country, but it is a model or a sort of checklist that which can be used to make their own national regulations. The protocols on safety, efficacy, standardization, and documentation of herbal medicines have also been published by IUPAC Subcommittee on Biomolecular Chemistry. That was the introduction.
Next is European regulation and guidelines. हेलो आवाज आ रही है मेरी
हाँ हाँ आ रही है.
हाँ सुना
हाँ आ रही है.
European regulation is a legal act of the European Union that becomes immediately enforceable as law in all simultaneously. A regulation can be distinguished from directive which at least in principle need to be transposed into national law. The European Medicine Agency Committee for Medicinal Products for Human Use prepares scientific guidelines in consultation with regulatory authorities in the European Union. The member states to help applicants prepare the marketing authorization application for human medicine. The introduction and general principle of the Annexure 1 of Directive 2001/83/European Commission as amended define the principle of governing the assurance of quality of medicinal product of European regulation. Since Annexure 1 of the directive, the amendment defined the detailed scientific and technical requirements from the marketing authorization of medicinal products of herbal products. Their principles only apply to the evaluation of the marketing authorization application and to authorize medicinal products. I am showing to one guideline of the European. Just a minute. The state of EMEI Scientific of Guideline in European Pharmacopoeia monograph and chapters in the regulatory framework applicable to medicinal products. This is the guideline of European, the rule governing medicinal products in the European Union. This is the scientific guideline. This monograph including general monograph and general chapter in this guideline. And good manufacturing practices is medicinal products for human use with the principles of guidelines on the published in this commission, the rule governing products in the European Committee. Next to be continued, Pranali.
Next is monograph in European Pharmacopoeia. Monographs in European Pharmacopoeia provide the quality requirements for herbal substances and preparations. The European Pharmacopoeia is a collection of standardized specifications of quality of pharmaceutical preparation, their constituents or their containers. The European Pharmacopoeia covers, but is not limited to, synthetic chemical active substances, natural products. In natural products like herbal drugs, herbal preparations, herbal teas, essential oils, and extracts. Then next is biological products and biotechnology derived products, vaccine for human use, veterinary vaccines, mineral products, radiopharmaceutical products, excipients, containers, dosage form, homeopathic preparation. Standard term on dosage form, route of administration, and containers. Some requirements may apply simultaneously to classes of a substance and preparation and therefore are covered by general monograph. And some requirements may be specific to monograph dedicated to the substance or preparations. The Committee of Herbal Medicinal Products has also addressed general quality matters in several guidelines documents covering to non-clinical quality, clinical, efficiency, and safety issues. Committee of Herbal Medicinal Products is responsible for identifying the priority of a herbal substances or combination to be converted by a monograph or list entry. Herbal substances proposed for assessment can be found in a inventory and the herbal substances under assessment can be found in appropriately list. Thank you.
प्रणाली हो गया ना?
हाँ श्रीका।
तो मैं स्टार्ट करती हूँ.
हाँ
Next is herbal substances. All mainly the whole plant, fragmented or cut plants, fungi, lichen, is in an unprocessed, usually dried form, but sometimes fresh. All these are herbal substances. Then exudates that have not been subjected to a specific treatment are also considered to be herbal substance. Now, exudates are the substances which are secreted by plants. Then herbal substances are precisely defined by the plant part used and the botanical name according to the binomial system, that is its genus, species, variety, and the author. So next is the about the herbal preparations.
Herbal preparation, which is a preparation based on subjected herbal substances, which are in under the treatment such as extraction, distillation. Hello.
हाँ रिंकू आ रहा है आवाज बोल.
हाँ, extraction. Okay. Distillation, expressions, as well as the fractionation, purification, concentration, or fermentation. This include the fermented or a powder herbal substance, that is extract, essential oil, express juice, and processed exudates. Medical products containing herbal substance for the preparation must follow within one of that following three categories to reach that market. First category, that is a product can be classified under the traditional medicinal use province, accepted on the basis of the sufficient safety data and possible efficacy. The product is granted a traditional use registrations by a member states. Second category is that a product can be classified under well-established medicinal use province. This is demonstrated with sufficient safety and efficacy data. As a result, the product is granted by a market authorizations, usually by the member states or by the European Medicine Agency under certain conditions. While both classification having a specific requirements, both three regulatory parts involve the assessment of mostly bibliographic safety and efficacy data, which are usually combined for well-established use the product with product specific data. A product can be authenticated after evaluations of that market authorizations. Application consists of only product specific safety and efficacy data. As a result, the product is granted a market authentications of by a member states or by the agency via the centralized procedure if all requirements are met. Mostly, the individual herbal medicinal products are licensed nationally by the member state. The process for licensing and information on the herbal substance and preparation is harmonized across the European Union. In United Kingdom, to get a product registered, companies have to submit a dossiers to that medicines and healthcare product regulatory agency, that is MHRA, demonstrate that is meet that requirements of quality, safety, and patients information as per the traditional herbal registration schemes, that is THRS. Minor on the basis of evidence of traditional uses as well as their respective of that regulation pathways to access to that market. The quality of herbal medicines product must always be demonstrated. Community herbal monographs prepared by the Committee on Herbal Medicinal Product, that is nothing but HMPC, and the agencies are evaluated from their traditional uses registration as well as well established use that marketing authentications. Okay. Second part,
हेलो
Kritika.
आवाज आ रहा है? हेलो
हाँ आ रहा है आवाज।
आ रहा है ना?
हम्म।
हाँ, okay. Now, a community herbal substance and its preparations intended for medicinal use. Hello, आ रहा है ना
हाँ
आवाज?
हाँ बोल।
हाँ, okay. Now, the HMPC evaluates scientifically all available information, including non-clinical and clinical data, but also documented long-standing use and experience in the community. The community monographs are divided into two columns: well-established use, which is marketing authorization, and traditional use, that is simplified registration. This well-established use section describes the safety and efficacy data, while traditional use section is accepted on the basis of sufficient safety data and plausible efficacy. A final community monograph can be used in application reference material by a marketing authorization applicant, that is well-established use part, and by a traditional use registration applicant, that is traditional use. Contrast to the community herbal monographs, the community list of herbal substances, preparations, and combinations thereof for use in traditional herbal medicinal products is legally binding to applicants and competent authorities in the member states is so far as an applicant will not be required to provide evidence of the safe and traditional use of a medicinal product for which he seeks a traditional use registration if he demonstrates that the proposed product and related claims in the information contained in the community list. Competent authorities will not have the opportunity to require additional data to access the safety and the traditional use of the product. The community list is developed gradually through list entries. When a draft list entry has a When a draft list entry for a given herbal substance or preparation has been produced by the committee, it is released for public consultation on this website for a period of 3 months. The list entry is then finalized by the Committee on Herbal Medicinal Products, that is HMPC, from a scientific point of view before being submitted for approval by the European Commission. Now, following this approval, the Commission decision amending the community list is published by the European Commission. Now, there are a list of documents that has to be entered. Firstly, the scientific and botanical name and the common name in all European languages. What is it used for? That is the indication. The specified strength and the posology, the route of administration, and any other information necessary for the safe use of the herbal substance or preparation used as an ingredient of a traditional herbal medicinal product, including
हेलो स्नेहा,
Yes, ma'am.
हो क्या तुम्हारा?
हाँ मैम हाँ हाँ मैं
Anupam.
कर रही हूँ स्टार्ट. So the
हेलो
the
हेलो
form.
हेलो अनुपमा,
Yes ma'am.
बाकी का हम कल देखेंगे. Now you take 10 minutes break and Shruti ma'am will start with the lecture.
Okay ma'am.
Okay, bye.
Yes ma'am.